Right. So as I say, it's basic questions around like your grassroots teams, your grassroots team environment, your game days, your training days. Again, no right, no wrong answers. Be confident, be positive in what you're saying, and just be as open and honest as you can be. Okay. So the first thing I want to know is kind of what does a standard training session look like for you? So when you're with your team, generally, what would the session look like, and how would you be involved? If, as I say, if you want to answer, just unmute. If not, I'm going to pick on someone. Go on then, Alex. Straight in there.
With the full team. When I
Yeah.
do sessions, we don't normally split up. We don't normally split up like most teams, and I'm always with the actual team.
Okay. So you say you're with the full team, so I might just jump through a few here. So what does it look like for you? What are you doing within that session?
Well, I'm normally doing the exact same drills as what my other team is. Well, what the whole entire team is, so I'm involved, yeah.
So you're more involved in like an outfield capacity as opposed to a goalkeeping capacity. Right, brilliant, good. Next one. Anybody else got an answer for us? If not, I'm going to pick on Oscar. Yeah, go for it, Oscar. So what does the standard training session look like?
Wait, was the
Sorry?
question because I was moving rooms?
All right, I was just asking, what does a standard training session look like for you in terms of your grassroots team?
Well, like at the start we'll do like fitness, and then we'll do like passing drills, and then sometimes we'll end with a game.
Right, brilliant. So you're involved right the way through your fitness,
Yeah.
through the passing exercises, and then into the game. So what does a fitness aspect of training look like for you?
Yeah, it's like doing like running around the pitch and then doing some like high knees and stretches and all that.
Right, and then passing. What are you doing in your passing exercises?
Like it's team v team in like a small area, to, like work on control and awareness.
Brilliant. Yeah. Anything else?
No.
That about it?
Yeah.
Good. One more, please. So we've kind of had an older, middle. Now let's have a look at a younger. So let's go, Joe. Let's ask you, Joe.
Well, we do at the start. We get to have a kick about and just take some shots, and then we go on to doing some we do this thing where there's people on the outside trying to pass through the person that's running through and see who can get as many passes, and then at the end we have some shots.
Right, so it's a little bit of free play, then some. It's more post. So is it like one team versus another team?
Yeah.
So you're passing exercise, and then it's shooting exercise at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, match.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh, like match, right? Brilliant. Good. Okay, on to the next question. So, thinking about your session, do you feel included as a goalkeeper? Go on, Callum. I can see you've unmuted there. We'll go for you first.
Well, on a Sunday I play as an outfielder as well.
Yeah.
So, but on my Saturdays we sometimes do shooting or anything, but most of the time it's just passing and possession and stuff.
Right. So, actually, I can see I'm going to shoot through some questions here. So what we'll do is we'll leave it at that. So you do a little bit of shooting and you do some matches.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Anybody else? Let's see. Let's go, Hayden.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I've got you.
So before match, we're just like we do some passing drills and we pass and then we'll follow a pass and then we'll do the circle round, 2 in the middle and then we'll pass around.
Right. So, as a goalkeeper within your sessions, do you feel included?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Good. One more. We'll go, Jacob.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, got you. Yeah, so
Before game, we normally do like passing and 5 minutes of that, and then I go separate and just go take some shots. They
right.
take some shots of
So
me.
okay. So, as a goalkeeper, do you feel like you're really included in the session in terms of being a goalkeeper and
Yes.
that being the position that you play? Right. Good. Brilliant. This kind of leads us on to the next question, and I think I'll go to Jack for this one. What type of interaction do you have with your coach or your coaches as a goalkeeper? Do you think your coaches or your coach, if you've only got one, do you think they're able to really give you much advice and interaction? And do they help you in the position that you play as a goalkeeper?
Yeah, so normally before a game, the other coach would work on the outfield players and like do sprints before we go into a game, and the other coach would like take me and warm my hands up and that.
Right. So just going back to your training sessions. So when you're training, are your coaches able to really relate what you're doing back to your position of a goalkeeper?
Yeah, so like we'd do like 10 minutes of straight passing drills, and then for the last like 20 minutes we'd do like you'd have to like kind of a match.
Right. Okay. Right. Great. Yeah. Logan. So in terms of how your coaches speak to you during training sessions, do you feel like what they're saying is relevant to your position?
Yeah.
And it's helpful for you, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, brilliant, good. Last one, let's ask who I haven't asked yet. Caleb. Yeah.
Well, normally I just do like shooting with a different coach. I don't join in with any of the others for some reason. And normally what they do is passing and then like they take some shots at me.
Right. So just to start with, you'll be separate from the team. And then towards the end you'll have a few shots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when your coaches are talking to you during your training sessions, do you feel like what they're saying and what they're doing is helpful for you as a goalkeeper?
Kind of.
Right. Kind of. So some
Like-
things are helpful, some things aren't.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Great. That leads into the next question, actually. So, Caleb, just leave your microphone on. So, obviously, junior training sessions, do you have any opportunities to link with your team as a goalkeeper or any opportunities to play with your feet? So, what I mean by that is, does your training session kind of include you as a goalkeeper working with your team? Or I know you've just said you feel kind of separate from it, but do you feel as if you get any opportunities to kind of build up a relationship with your defenders, your midfielders, and your strikers through playing?
No, because the hardly if we play a game, the hardly pass back to it, and like if no one's in space, they would just normally kick it out for like a throw in or a corner, and
When I kind of have the ball, they don't really make some space. Sometimes they do in a game, but like.
But do you feel that's harder to really do that in a game when you haven't worked on it in training?
They probably do it in training, but they wouldn't do it in a game.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So you don't feel as if you've got. Do you feel as if you've got that connection with your team? That you trust them on the ball and they trust you on the ball, that they could play the ball back to you, and then they would make space for you to pass to them, or do you not really feel as if you've had that opportunity to do that?
Nah, I don't.
Okay, right, great. Same question for Dan, please. So, in training, as a goalkeeper, do you feel like you have an opportunity to link up with your team, where you've got opportunities to kind of play out, receive back passes, communicate, so on and so forth?
Yeah, because my coaches sometimes tell them to like play it back to us to try and like help me with my feet, and then I can play it out and make space. And then normally, if I shout like keepers on or something, they'll play it back and make space.
Right, brilliant. So that's encouraged as well, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic, good. So I'll just ask you the previous question as well, because I think it could be quite important. When that's happening, are your coaches stepping in and helping you with kind of like where you need to be standing, talking about like the quality of first touch, decision making on your pass, and so on?
Yeah.
Yeah, good, brilliant. So you've got somebody next to you and they're constantly working with you.
Yeah.
Brilliant, good. Let's ask one more. Who is anybody who haven't spoken to yet? No, I think we've got you all. So I'll ask. Let's go, Jacob. So
Yeah, they do, because when we're in
sorry, I missed half
when
of
we're
that.
in training, pardon, the connection went there.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. I've just lost you a little bit there. So can you just repeat that one, please?
So when we're in training, I normally go with them, and we normally have a passing drill. So I get so the team get used to working with my feet instead of like just passing it to the defenders.
Right, brilliant. So obviously that's kind of more of like an outfield exercise. Do you feel when you're in goal that you've got an opportunity to kind of like play with your teammates as well? Do you know what I mean? Where you're receiving passes and where you're playing out.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, like in a game, if we're maybe like winning, I'll pass it, or we need everyone's up the field. One of us will scream start again, and they pass it back to me, and then we play forward again.
Right, brilliant, good, thank you. Right, here's a one, and this is where I've asked, when I said at the start, to be open, to be honest. If you could change anything about your team training sessions, what would it be? Let's have a look. Oh, there we go, Jack, straight in on that one. Like that. Go on, Jack.
Like to work on my footwork a bit more.
Right. So in what kind of capacity would you like to work on your footwork a little bit more?
Like when they pass it back to me, because normally when I pass it back to them, there's normally everyone on my centre backs, and there's normally only me striker that's open. So if I kick it, it might not go straight the striker, and we don't really like practice on that.
So the only opportunity you've got really is to kick it long. So, I mean, I suppose that goes back to the previous one, really. So, when I asked before, do you have an opportunity to link up with your team? So, what I meant by that was in terms of you as a goalkeeper, and say, what you play with 3 or 4 defenders?
3 defenders.
3 defenders. So it's kind of like, how would you link in with them 3, and then how would you link in with midfielders, and then obviously your attacker beyond that. So you would like to do a lot more work on linking up on when you receive the ball, dropping into positions to support you so that they can receive the ball. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Thanks, Jack. Let's go, Hayden. If you could change anything about your team training sessions, what would it be?
Just to get the ball on my hands a bit more, because we'll just do a bit of passing and that's about it. And
Okay. Go on, carry on. Sorry.
and speed agility, so
Right. So you would like to be used more as a goalkeeper during the team training sessions.
yeah.
Yeah. So how, if you can word that, how would you like to be included more? Would it be more of like your standard shooting exercises, or would it be more in games?
Just a bit more in my games.
Right. Brilliant. Thank you. Let's go back to Oscar.
Like the only thing that I'd like to work on is like get like me a tiny bit more involved in like maybe like handling and like footwork, because like we go on it, but it's like not that long. Maybe just a bit more.
Right. So you would like to do just a touch more with your feet and your hands.
Yeah.
So how do you think that could be done?
Well, I only go to their training once every 2 weeks, because the other week I've got keeper training with the club. So like
Right.
it's kind of.
So what would you, if your coach turned around to you and said, Oscar, I want you to design a session where you're more involved in using your feet and using your hands, what do you think that would look like?
Well, trying to like make the defenders get space, because like in games there's not always like options where I can pass to them, so sometimes I have to go long, but like it always comes straight back at us because if we haven't got that many tall players up front.
Right. Okay. So again, that goes back to the other one where you kind of needing to link in with your team a little bit more, where you're creating that relationship. When you receive the ball, they know what they need to do and you know what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's have one more. Does anybody else want to answer this question? If you don't, I will pick on. Let's go with Callum.
I would say probably be more like do more stuff like as a goalkeeper, especially like for the football stuff I do at school. Like I'd barely do anything like goalkeeping wise. It's always like possession or outfield stuff.
Right, so you'd like to be in goal just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So I'll ask you the same question as Oscar. Yeah, keep that mic on you. I'm watching you. How would that look for you then? So your coaches turn around to you and go, Callum, I want you to design a session this week where you're more involved. What would it look like? Put you on the spot, haven't I?
I don't know.
So, kind of, what would you do? Would you put yourself in goal? Would you be working with your back line? Would you be trying to play out into target areas where the opposition, when it back there, try and score? Would that sound like something that would be useful?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't sound too sure. Right, good. Thanks, Colin. Cheers. So, going into a match day. So everything that we're going to talk about now is matches. What does your warm-up look like? So again, oh, Jack's on the ball again. Go on, Jack.
Like, so when we get there, the coach would set out like a little agility thing for what to do, and then we'd go like stretch, and like 5 minutes before we go like before we actually go to play the game, they would like would do like a passing drill, then the passing drill would turn into like a shooting drill.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Logan, what does your standard match day warm-up look like?
One of the coaches take me to one of the goals and then warm me up, while the other coach warms everybody else up with like stretches.
Right. So what do you do in your warm-up?
The coach takes shots as is, like anywhere, and sometimes I turn around to look at the net, and then when he says go, I turn around and then he takes shots anywhere, so I don't really know where it's going, so it's harder.
Right, brilliant, thank you. Let's go one more. Dan.
Just like run around a little bit around the pitch, and then we do stretches, and then one of the coaches works with the outfield players on like passing and dribbling and shooting, and then the other works with me on goalkeeping. Then the outfield players come over and have shot at me.
Okay, so your coach comes over and does goalkeeping. So what does that look like?
Like 1-2s, like I'll pass it to him, and then I'll move into a spot where like he can play it back to me, and then he'll move so it's like playing it around the back, and then you'll have shots at this as well.
Right, brilliant, thank you. Next question. Do you feel like your warm-up helps you prepare for a game? Let's ask Alex first. And then I'll come to you, Joe, because I've seen you unmute yourself there.
Well, my warm-up helps my game because the work on my handling, because if I don't really warm up, my handling is not the greatest. So they normally work on my handling.
Right, good. So is that something that you've put together? So is that something that you've asked for in particular, or is that something that the coach has just come over and said, Alex, this is what we're doing?
Well, it's kind of like random though, but it's mostly handling, yeah, and we do normally get into our formation and pass the ball around as well.
Right, brilliant. So, and you find that helps you prepare for the game? Good, brilliant. Joe.
It helps me. It me with like. It gets me warmed up and just ready for the game.
Right. So, what do you do in particular in your warm up that helps you prepare for the game as a goalkeeper?
Well, they have shots. So, one coach takes us, and then the other like just takes shots at me. It's like some or like catches and some are like dives.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. One more, Jacob.
What was the question again?
It was, do you feel your match day warm up helps you prepare for a game?
Yeah, because if in the warm up, if I can't, because I'm not good at my kicking unless I warm up before the game.
Right. So is it just your kicking that you focus on, or do you do anything else?
Like kicking and just shots normally.
Right.
or corners.
Okay, brilliant.
Sometimes it's
Oh, a couple of like high catches as well.
yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you. Okay, let's go to the next one. So, before the game starts, do you know what your role is within the team and what's expected of you? Obviously, away from the obvious of keeping the ball out the back of the net. Caleb. Have you got it, Caleb? There you go. Oh, he's off again.
What was the question again?
Right, so do you know what your role is within the team, and do you know what's expected of you in each game?
To save shots, not time waste if we're losing, and like if say if one of my teammates are out of position, I could tell them and then get back in position, and that's really it.
Yeah, in that, does that instruction come from your coach, or is that from you?
Well, it's from me most of the time. Sometimes my coach tells us to do it.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Anybody else? Let's have a look, see if anybody's unmuted. No, so let's ask Hayden then.
So the coach asks each player to come to him when we're in a drill, and then he says what they need to do better what they done last game, and then before the game he just tells everyone what's the plan and what to set out.
Right, so in terms of you going into a game, do you have anything that is the same each week?
No, not really.
No.
Also-
So give me an example of what you might be told at the start of a game in terms of kind of like your role and what's expected of you.
If I don't have any options at the back, I'll just boot it up, and then if me defender's on space, I just play the short.
Okay, brilliant. What about anything out of possession? So if your team doesn't have the ball,
Stay set and ready just in case if they shoot outside the box or anything.
right? Brilliant. Thank you. Last one, Oscar. So just asking, kind of, do you know what your role is within the team and what's expected of you in each game?
Like when we lose possession, give communication to like tell them where to go, and if there's space, like where a man's gonna be, and just like stay ready, and if there's no option, just go along, but be prepared for it to come back.
Right, brilliant. Thank you. Okay, here's a one forward. So I'll start with Alex. So during a game, what type of interaction or instruction do you get from the coach? And do you feel it's either positive, negative, helpful, or unhelpful?
Well, I think it's helpful, but I can't really say it's positive because sometimes it is positive because it's like it's our form and what we didn't really do last game. He's trying to implant it into the game we're about to play.
Right. So what about during the game? So while you're playing, does the coach talk to you? And obviously, when they're talking, do you feel it's either helpful, unhelpful, negative, or positive?
I'll try to take those things positive when it comes to goalkeeping because he normally does. It normally is positive. So if we do something well, which he knows is good. You normally say what you normally tell us. Something good.
Right, good. Thank you. Joe, I'll ask you before you fall asleep.
What was the question?
So when your coach talks to you during a game, or basically does the coach talk to you during the game, what kind of instruction did they give you? And do you feel it's either positive, negative, helpful, or unhelpful?
Well, I feel it can be helpful, and like they say, like just like who to pass it to and stuff. Because sometimes, like I look at when I get the ball, save it, and I'm doing a long kick, like they can be mocked, and then I'm trying to pass it to them when I'm not looking at my defenders, and they're just like telling me like to pass it to like who to pass it to.
Okay, brilliant, good, thank you. One more, let's ask Callum.
Well, I think it's quite helpful because my coach tells us to like stay high up the pitch when like the ball's like in their half. But sometimes it's like bad because I feel like we could get caught out on like a quick counter attack if I'm too high up the pitch. I could just lob the ball over the top of her.
Right, okay. So would you possibly want a little bit more freedom and a little bit more of an input as to where you stand, as opposed to being told where to stand? Yeah.
Well, I
Right,
know
brilliant.
keep a high line, but sometimes I don't think I need to be as high as what the coach is telling us to be.
Okay, good. Thank you. Jack, I've seen you on mute, so we'll come to you for this one.
Yeah, because sometimes you'll say like if the defender's out of place, like to shout at them if they're not tracking back, say if they're just walking back and there's like a 3-on-2 and it's like a hard situation, I'd shout at them and tell them to hurry up and get back.
Right, good. Anything else in terms of what you do during a game or what you potentially have to do? Do you get much instruction
normally
on
have-
communication?
Yeah, normally when it's like a corner, the coach tell them to like mark up, and if no one's marking up, like shout at them to like till they do it.
Right, brilliant. Thank you. Going on to the last question, fellas. So what I'll do is I'm going to pick on a couple of people who I haven't asked as many questions to. So Logan, I'll come to you first. If you could change anything about your match day experience, whether it's your warm up, the team talk, anything that happens during the game, what would it be?
Probably for the coach to like tell us like more what to do, and like speak to me more than speak to like the outfield players altogether.
Okay, so you feel as if you want a little bit more help and a little bit more instruction during the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Dan, we'll come to you after you finish yawning.
What was the question again?
So if you could change anything about your match day experience, what would it be? So like I've just explained, it would be anything from the warm up, the team talk to in the game. What would you change if you could?
Maybe a bit more support from the wingers, because like say if there's like a goal kick and all the defenders are marked, they don't really they could be an option if they come back, but they don't really, and they just stay high and don't track back.
Okay, so how do you think that could be changed?
Like if everyone's marked, if they just come back, and then when we get the ball, start attacking again.
Okay. So in terms of everything else, you're happy with how your warm-up's done, you're happy with what's communicated to you during the team talk, you're happy with what's communicated during the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, brilliant, thank you. Jacob. So again, if you could change anything about your match day experience, what would it be?
If I could change anything, maybe the way the coaches like describe stuff. Cause like I don't know how you describe it. Cause they could shout some like if on a match day they could shout something that I don't know, but they could have said something else that I wouldn't know.
Right, so does it sometimes come across a little bit too technical or a little bit too complicated where you think it could be a little bit more simple?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant, thank you. Is there anything else? Anything else during a match? So you're happy with how you warm up? You're happy with
Yeah.
what's said during the team talk? It's just on the pitch, sometimes it gets a little bit complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, brilliant, thank you. Last one, Caleb. So if you could change anything about your match day experience, what would it be?
For my players sometimes not to walk back, and like for corners not make a shout at them to mock someone. Like on the last game we played, that was just a person standing at the back post, and I kept on telling them to mark them, but no one was ever marking them.
So how do you think that could be made a little bit better? Do you think there's anything that you could do maybe before the game that would help you? Anything in training potentially?
Tell them to do it.
Okay. Do you think that could possibly, so remember the question asked before about having the opportunity to link up with your teammate in training? Yeah. Do you think possibly doing that could help?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Jack, you're making me dizzy there. Right, thank you, Caleb. Go on. I haven't asked you this one yet, have I, Jack? So if you could change anything about your match day experience in terms of your warm-up, team talk, instruction when you're on the pitch, what would it be?
Like the way the players do stuff, because he would say, oh, like make sure the passing's sharp, make sure it's quick, but then sometimes they're not doing it and they just lose the ball cheaply, and then they can counter attack, and like he's not saying it in like the right way.
Right. Okay. Is that your coach?
Yeah.
When you say he? Yeah. So in terms of kind of the interaction from the sideline, then what do you think would be more helpful? How do you think it could be put across a little bit better?
Like if they're told with the way that they want us to pass the ball.
Okay, and where do you think that might come from? Do you think it would come from the sideline, or do you think it would come from training?
Like training, because the sideline, it's like if our coach shouts it, they're like the other team will get an idea what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. So you think more should be done in training to mirror how you want to play on a match day?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Brilliant. Thanks, Jack. Let's see. Right, lads, I'm just going to open the floor up to you. So if there's anything else that I kind of haven't covered in terms of your experiences as a goalkeeper, obviously playing grassroots football, if there's anything else that you want to mention, anything that you think might be helpful, feel free to just speak up, unmute your microphone. we'll see what comes out of it. Yeah. Let's have a look. Hayden, it looks like you're getting ready. Is anything from you that you want to add?
No.
Straight to the point. Callum?
Don't think so.
No? No?
Mm.
Is there anybody that wants to say anything that we haven't covered yet? Or is everybody happy? Everyone's good? Right, lads, thanks for your time.